Good morning, everybody. Today's lesson, Workbook Lesson 108. To give and to receive are one in truth.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
I don't think so.
There we go. Hopefully that's a little bit closer to something we can deal with. Good morning, everybody. Today's Workbook Lesson 108. To give and to receive are one in truth. Vision depends upon today's idea that to give and to receive are one in truth. The light is in truth, for truth reconciles all seeming opposites. And what is light except the resolution born of peace of all your conflicts and mistaken thoughts into one concept, which is wholly true? Even that one concept, which is wholly true, will disappear, because the thought behind that one concept, which is wholly true, will appear instead to take that one concept's place. And now you are at peace forever, for the dream is over then. True light that makes true vision possible is not the light the body's eyes behold. True light that makes true vision possible is a state of mind that has become so unified that the darkness cannot be perceived at all. And thus, what is the same, which is true light, is seen as one, while what is not the same, which is darkness, remains unnoticed, for darkness is not there. This is the true light that shows no opposites. And vision, being healed, has power to heal. This is the one true light that brings your peace of mind to other minds, to share that peace with others, and so they are glad that they are one with you, with themselves. This is the true light that heals, because this true light brings single perception based upon one frame of reference from which one meaning comes. Here, both giving and receiving are seen as different aspects of one thought, with a capital T there, whose truth does not depend on which is seen as first or which appears to be in second place. This was a key line for me. Here it's understood that both giving and receiving occur together, that the thought remain complete. And in this understanding that giving and receiving are different aspects of one thought is the base on which all opposites are reconciled, because all opposites are perceived from the same frame of reference, which unifies this thought. One thought, completely unified, would serve to unify all thought. This is the same as saying that one correction will suffice for all corrections, or that to forgive one brother is wholly enough to bring salvation to all minds. For these are some of the special cases one unifying law which holds every kind of learning. Let me read that again. For these are but some special cases of one unifying law which holds for every kind of learning, if it be directed by the one, the Holy Spirit, who knows the truth. To learn that giving and receiving are the same has special usefulness, because giving and receiving are the same, can be tried and so easily seen as true. And when this special case has proved that to give and receive, it always works in every circumstance where it's tried, the thought behind that giving and receiving are the same can be generalized into other areas of doubt and double vision. And from there, that general thought that to give is to receive will extend and finally arrive at the one thought which underlies all special or specific cases. Today, we practice with the special case of giving and receiving. We will use this simple lesson in the obvious because the special case of giving and receiving are the same as results that we can't miss. To give is to receive. Today, we will attempt to offer peace to everyone and see how quickly peace returns to us. Light is tranquility, and in that peace is vision given us, and we can see. So we begin the practice periods with the instruction for today and say, to give and to receive are one in truth. I will receive what I am giving now. Then close your eyes and for 5 minutes, think of what you would hold out to everyone as your gift that you give. To have that same item be yours to receive in return. You might, for instance, say, to everyone, I offer quietness. To everyone, I offer peace of mind. You're okay. You're good. Oh, you are? To everyone, I offer gentleness. To everyone, I offer peace. Say to each one slowly, then pause a while, expecting to receive the gift you gave. And the gift you give will come to you in the amount in which you gave the gift. You will find you have exact return, for that is what you asked. It might be helpful, too, to think of the one whom gave you your gifts. He represents the others, and through him you give to all. Our very simple lesson for today, that to give and to receive are one in truth, will teach you much. Effect and cause will be far better understood from this time on, and will make much faster progress now. Think of the exercises for today as quick advances in your learning, made still faster and more sure each time you say, to give and to receive are one in truth. That is lesson 108. And I've got some notes on this that I'll read through and do our meditation. Really appreciate you all being here. I hope you're having a great Monday morning. Easter Monday up here in New England is kind of a holiday. So we've got the day off, and my kids are here, as you might have heard. So everything's going great on this side. I hope you guys are having a good morning so far. All right, here are the notes for lesson 108. To give and to receive are one in truth. Lesson 108 states that To give and to receive are one in truth. Because your ego believes that separation is real, the idea that to give and to receive are one in truth is vehemently denied by your ego. Your ego's belief in separation results in a corresponding belief in lack. Because your ego mistakes your body for your essence, it concludes that you must struggle to obtain the limited resources that you need to survive. This ultimately leads to the ego's belief that you should only give when there is an equal or greater corresponding benefit that you will receive. The ego is always interested in obtaining a good deal. It wishes to obtain as much of the resources that it perceives it needs with a minimal loss to your own precious resources. The idea that you only give to get is directly related to your ego's belief that this world is a zero-sum game. There are limited resources available, and each party must struggle to ensure that they receive their fair share. The ego realizes that form cannot be shared. Therefore, it associates the giving with loss and sacrifice. This belief in sacrifice and loss reinforces the ego's fear-based thought system. Lack, limitation, conflict, and struggle continue to rule the world of the split-minded, who perceive themselves separate from their unlimited Creator. The law of God states that to give is to receive. On a theoretical basis, this idea is easy to explain, since there is just the one self. No separation is possible within the mind, the shared mind of God. If there is only one, obviously you can only give to yourself. But this is not the only explanation offered for this idea. ACIM offers additional explanation as to why to give and to receive are one in truth. We've been taught that our experiences come first, and that our thoughts and beliefs are the cause or the result of those experiences. So our experiences come first as the cause, and our thoughts and beliefs are the result of those experiences. We believe that in time, there's a gap between cause and effect. This gap results in our belief that cause and effect are two separate items, one following the other, right? Therefore, we perceive giving and receiving as two separate and distinct events. A Course in Miracles states that your thought is the powerhouse behind all that you experience. Thoughts come first, and your physical experiences follow. But how can you have the thought of giving if you do not simultaneously also have the thought of receiving? Giving and receiving are actually two aspects of one thought, like two sides to a single coin. Without both simultaneous concepts, the other would cease to exist. If I didn't have a son, I wouldn't be a father. Well, actually, that's not true, I guess. All right, anyway, just like a cause needs its effect, or it's not a cause, so too does the thought of giving require the simultaneous thought of receiving. This idea that giving and receiving are different aspects of one thought is true and does not depend on which aspect seems to appear first. Giving and receiving are inseparable and simultaneous. Each requires the other component, and therefore they occur together and cannot be separated. You need both for either giving or receiving to take place and to be true. Because our ego confuses form with content, we failed to understand that the relinquishing of a specific form does not mean the giver has not received something back of equal value. When you move past form to the content or purpose behind the asking, the giving, and the receiving, try that again. When you move past form to the content or purpose behind the giving and receiving, you understand that what is given or received is always returned in full. No sacrifice is required by either party. There are no victims and there are no victimizers. Each receives in direct proportion to what they give. The idea that to give is to receive is the only thought that you need to unify all supposed opposites that the egoic mind perceives. The recognition that to give and to receive are one, in truth, brings salvation and healing to all that would perceive themselves as separate and split-minded. When asked, the Holy Spirit will utilize this truth to reframe and correct your ego's belief in lack, limitation, and separation. In today's workbook lesson, you're given an exercise that allows you to confirm the statement that to give and to receive are one in truth. This holds the power to correct all errors. The specific form that the problem may appear in may be different, but the correction is the same. Realize that to give is to receive, and the error is undone. If you want peace, give peace, and you will receive the peace that you seek and desire. Let's take a minute and reconnect with the surface beneath us. Whatever it is that's supporting you today. Oh my goodness, I have a special possibility. If Stephanie's down, would you like to help us with a little breath work before I do the meditation? We'd love to hear your voice.
Well, it may be a little loud. Can you hear the music in the background? I'm in the gym.
A little bit. I hear that you're busy, though. It's no big deal. I'm happy to go ahead and do it, and you can help me
You
do it
sure?
better next time, all right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
thanks. She's amazing. I can't meditate and get to peace in the gym, but I can visit it later on. I do appreciate everything everybody's doing out there, and really appreciate you just sharing some time with us so we can listen to the truth. So beneath you, whatever you're sitting on or lying on, whatever's supporting you, whatever is connected to the ground underneath, that connects you back to our shared planet, our Mother Earth, the place where we all dwell as we figure out how to get back to heaven. This place can feel like a living hell, or it can feel like a Garden of Eden, a paradise, where everything is provided at the moment it's needed. I welcome you all back to the Garden of Eden because that's what A Course in Miracles promises to return us to. A sense of a space where we each can have what we need, just like every breath is provided here on Earth. So let's become connected to the surface beneath us for a moment and imagine as we take a nice deep breath that our lowest chakras are lighting up. Those are the reds and the oranges and the yellows. Pull that deep breath in and expand your belly out so your lungs have room to expand up and fill up like big balloons. And hold that breath when you have it comfortably. And when you're comfortable, you can release your breath and relax. And then take another nice deep breath, a second deep breath of the day. Fill up your lungs and let the rest of your chakras light up throughout your chest and your throat. We're getting up into the greens and into the blues. And as you hold that breath, let your body suck in that oxygen. It's so good for you. And release your breath when you're ready. And relax as you get ready to take the deepest breath of the day. When you're ready, you can start that nice deep breath in. The last of your chakras opening up and lighting up all the way up to the crown of your head. That deepest, darkest purple that represents so many of our good aspects. Helps create the full color spectrum, producing a white light that's so bright that it extends beyond your body and reaches out brightly to light up the world with the peace that's inside of you. To give and to receive are one in truth. Vision depends upon today's idea. The light is in it, for it reconciles all seeming opposites. And what is light except the resolution, born of peace, of all your conflicts and mistaken thoughts into one concept, which is wholly true? Even that one will disappear, because the thought behind it will appear instead to take its place. And now we are at peace forever, for the dream is over now. True light, which makes true vision possible, is not the light the body's eyes behold. It is a state of mind which has become so unified that the darkness cannot be perceived at all. And thus, what is the same is seen as one, while what is not the same remains unnoticed, for it's not there. This is the light which shows no opposites, and vision, being healed, has the power to heal. This is the light which brings your peace of mind to other minds, to share it and be glad that they are one with you and with themselves. This is the light which heals, because it brings single perception based on one frame of reference, from which one meaning comes. Here, both giving and receiving, seen as different aspects of one thought, whose truth does not depend on which is seen first, nor which appears to be in second place. Here it's understood that both occur together, that the thought remain complete. And in this understanding is the base on which all opposites are reconciled, because they are perceived from the same frame of reference which unified this thought. One thought, completely unified, will serve to unify all thought. This is the same as saying one correction will suffice for all correction, or that to forgive one brother is wholly enough to bring salvation to all minds. For these are but some special cases of one law which holds for every kind of learning, if it be directed by the one who knows the truth. To learn that giving and receiving are the same has special usefulness because it can be tried so easily and seen as true. And when this special case has proved it always works in every circumstance where it is tried, the thought behind it can be generalized to other areas of doubt and double vision. And from there it will extend and finally arrive at the one thought which underlies them all. Today, we practice with the special case of giving and receiving. We will use this simple lesson in the obvious because it has results you cannot miss. To give is to receive. Today, we will attempt to offer peace to everyone and note how quickly peace returns to us. Light is tranquility, and in that peace is vision given us, and we can see. So we begin the practice periods with the instruction for today and say, to give and receive are one in truth. I will receive what I am giving now. Then close your eyes and for 5 minutes think of what you would hold out to everyone to have it yours. For instance, you might say, to everyone I offer quietness. To everyone I offer peace of mind. To everyone I offer gentleness. To everyone I offer love. To everyone I offer peace. Say each of your lines slowly, then pause a while, expecting to receive the gift you gave, and it will come back to you in the amount in which you gave it. You will find you have exact return, for this is what you asked. It might be helpful, too, to think of one whom to give your gifts. He or she, they represent the others, and through him you give to all. Our very simple lesson for today will teach you much. Effect and cause will be far better understood from this time on, and we will make much faster progress now. Think of the exercises for today as quick advances in your learning, made still faster and more sure each time you say, to give and to receive are one in truth. And that, my friends, is really the truth. That is our lesson for today. I think one of the most important things for me was that to bring together the giving and receiving means the true gifts we offer at this level. They have to be one and the same. Every bit of peace I offer out to the universe is returned to me in kind. And so I offer my kindness to you. And I really appreciate you coming and sharing the space with me for a little bit as I read through this lesson. And I'd love to hear what you think. I've got a question or two to prompt, and I'll put them in the chat as well. But why don't we just start with good morning and happy Monday, Easter morning. Hope you guys had a great weekend. How's everybody doing? Carolyn, Janine, Andy? How are you guys? Bill, Stephanie, Anybody down below who feels like coming up, feel free to raise your hand. Turn off
Good
the hand raising just in case. Hey, Janine, go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning, Carolyn. How are you doing?
Good. Happy Monday to everybody. I know it's a Monday, but with these lessons it just starts off a great week.
It's
Yes,
short.
indeed. How are you, Janine?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank
Great.
you.
All right. Well, the questions I have are, while doing today's exercise, did you find the gift you offered your brother was also received in kind? That's the first one. The second one is, when you offered peaceful, loving thoughts to another, did your own mind benefit from those same thoughts? I'll let that hang out there.
Yes to both questions. I just thought it was great. I've already done it. This is the third time, so it just was a peace. Just you could feel it coming back to you when you said peace, or I said strength and joy and compassion, as well as the ones listed, and it just you could just feel it coming back like a boomerang.
I
I
totally
love this
agree.
morning. I love this morning's meditation. I received a picture from Linda in her Catholic church in Houston, and it showed the way. I'm not sure how they even accomplished it, but be, it, up on the dais, the stage, and behind it all was what looked like a it was a painting. I'm assuming, not sure, but it showed that the arms of Jesus came off the cross and were just looking forward or moving forward to bless everyone in the church. I had never seen that before. I didn't know that the Catholics, who typically normally have Jesus on the cross and bleeding and so on, I didn't know that front, the background, the backdrop to the dais or stage, did that. But there it was. It was a beautiful picture, and it looked as if Jesus was rising through greenery of some sort, that some new blooms, so to speak, and it that replicates so beautifully the one of the main ideas of Course in Miracles, that he didn't need to die for our sins because there is no sin, and that he truly blesses us all the time. I don't know how long that image stays in the Catholic Church, but for yesterday, it was a beautiful picture. One other thought that came to mind was, excuse me, in the college that I went to study architecture, Pratt Institute, they were one of the very few at the time that followed the Bauhaus dictum that architects lived and designed by, which was form follows function. And that was a reversal of the way most architecture was done and was designed and was created by, that form follows function. In other words, as the reading this morning says, the form follows the idea or the thought. The thought comes first. And what they were saying and what we were taught, which is even more powerful now in light of what we just read, is that first you find out what are the experiences that the people going into this building, whatever it is, what do you want them to feel? That's the function. And what happens if that's a temple? or a synagogue or a church or a mosque? And the answer is you want them to feel one with God. That was the singular basis for my thesis 55 years ago, 56 years ago, that when you go into this temple, you will feel something. And the form contributes to that, not the other way around. And so that's the way we had to look at it then. Now they both become one. The experience and the building to become one with that through the use of light is an amazing thought that came to me this morning as Lee was reading in probably the most profound way I've ever heard you read, Lee. You really nailed it this morning for us, and it was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Whenever we talk about this idea to give is to receive, uh, the world is a reflection of me. The world is a reflection of what we send out. We need to be aware that we write an ego or how we view or identify anything for not only ourselves, but for everything and everyone we come in contact with. So whenever we believe that someone is X, that's what we send our senses out to confirm that we expect that person to be mean. We expect that person to be disrespectful. And therefore, since we've got the lens uh, or sunglasses of disrespect covering our eyes, that's what is reported back to us. So we have to be very careful whenever we realize how our mind truly works to guard our thoughts and not project out all our fears out upon our world, or we will see reflected back a fearful world. So it's very important to understand that our thoughts color everything that we experience, and uh, experience is a little bit different than events. Events are what actually do happen out there that a camera would pick up. Experiences are those events filtered through our belief system, which therefore picks and chooses what it wishes to place its attention on and therefore observe. So, guard your thoughts. And if you want to have a peaceful day, see everyone as being at peace, and
Yeah,
that's what you'll receive.
that's right.
Thank you.
Can I say something? Caroline, you have your mic open. Do you want to share something before I jump in? Okay. Well, so good morning, everybody. Thank you, Tom, for what you just said, and Bob and everybody. Yeah, and I agree. The meditation was really beautiful today too. I mean, as many other days. Uh, what Tom was saying made me realize something that came up to me yesterday. Bob did yesterday a game word with the word responsibility because it started to give us the idea. Okay, let's find that word. Let's find another meaning for that word, responsibility, and that stuck with me during the day and later at night when I was almost falling asleep. I said, yeah, responsibility is our ability to respond, and that only can come from God. If you are with your mind aligned with all the concepts of the truth, I mean, the love, the kindness, the peaceful, the inner peace, whatever, that give you responsibility, the ability to respond instead of reaction. The ego reacts. And if I play the game that Bob did yesterday, the ego react. The ego makes you mimic what you see outside because it wants you to be caught up with the level of the form. So react is a symbol for ego, and responsibility is a symbol of truth. So when you are in the ego mind and you react, of course, you will not see the light because you're mimicking. You're mimicking your partner in his or her own mind, ego mind. Um, you're mimicking everything that you see around you without even knowing. Because if you see something that it's in conflict and you get a feeling that it's not right, then you will start to react in some form like I'm going to defend the peace and the love, and you start to get in conflict or resistance to those things instead of have responsibility of the conflict that you are seeing. So I was thinking about the symbols. I have seen many churches, and those are the ones that I love the most, where they even change their names to reflect more the event of the resurrection instead of the crucifixion. I never liked the churches that had like that full image of the cross and the bleeding Jesus hang in there. That gives me reaction. So the church probably has been using the crucifixion in front of the people that goes to church in that same form to make people react the that part of Jesus' life instead of react the resurrection. That's why when you go into a church and you see the symbols that are more aligned with truth, gives you more peace, gives you more openness to receive the message. So the ego will make you always react, and you need to make sure that your reaction, instead of being just like from the ego, that your reaction really change. That your reaction became or start to be more aligned with truth, and then you move towards responsibility. We are always reacting, and now we are learning how to be responsible of our own outside world, because the outside world that you see with your eyes is just a refraction of the light that there's in everything. So I wanted to share that because I really find this piece of uh, word like really helpful for me to understand my own self when I'm feeling down, or when I'm feeling yeah, the things that makes you feel out of peace. So instead of reacting towards that, I just keep quiet more than I used to be before. Keep quiet. I don't even give myself time to cry, but I just keep quiet and observe everything around me. And I start to feel really like that responsibility within me, because now my words as my world, as my inner self is changing to be more aligned with the source, with God, with the light. So I'm not willing to give up on my efforts to stop reacting and start to have responsibility towards everything that I see with my own eyes and I experience with my own senses. Yesterday it was a beautiful day. I had the opportunity to be here with the kids, and that brings me joy because they are really good kids and they have fun, and we could have fun in some form. But I was missing a lot my daughter. I was really missing her dearly because but the Easter activities that she used to have was always on my responsibility. I was the one who did that for her, so I was really getting attached. My ego wanted me to be attached to the level of the form. So I was always like having this sense of I need to react into something that makes my daughter have a sense that I'm there, and she didn't have the same Easter as always. But she did have her Easter, and I could really knew that it was only my ego trying to make me feel bad about not being there. But in fact, she had a wonderful time. And then my ego moves from that to blame, to the game of guilt and blame toward my ex-husband, and I say no, yeah, that's again. So yesterday was a challenging day because I was really feeling like pushed to react, and I was really trying to be more responsible of my own mind and actions. So um, I had help, of course, because as I'm more determined every single time to be at peace and to be loved and to be kind, of course, that materializes in front of me with the help that I have now to maintain my mind in the truth that it's Lee. So Lee helped me a lot to keep my mindset in just be instead of reacting because I was feeling sad. So I wasn't forcing myself not being sad, but I wasn't also willing to give up on or surrender to the ego mind and let myself get down. So I didn't see the opportunity to be okay here with the kids and all of that. So I have an experience yesterday about it, and it came all clear at the night with the reaction, repeating, and like yeah, reacting. It's really like the opposite of responsibility. Okay, so I wanted to share that, and I hope it helps everybody.
It was,
Always, Adriana. May I go next?
yeah, sure.
It's funny how life always gives us opportunities to demonstrate these lessons. And for me, it's with my mom. My mom is. I had to take her yesterday. She said she was short of breath, and she wanted to go to the emergency room. She wasn't feeling well, and my ego is so ridiculous. It's like, oh, come on, mom, on Easter, come on, supposed to have a good time and was gonna cook and do all these things and spend time with the family, but my mom she wasn't feeling well. And I thought, oh, she's just being, she just wants attention. And my ego went to all those places. But of course, I, my sense of responsibility, I kicked in and I said, of course, mom. And, very kind to her. And, we gathered her. She got ready and we went to the emergency room. And, everybody was very kind there. It was a wonderful new facility. But in my mind, it was like, I was thinking, how can I ever give back to my mother what she's given me in my lifetime? And I think there's been some sort of guilt about me not doing enough for her now that she's in need. And how could I possibly do enough? And, my mom is 88. Her birthday was April 11th. And she's always giving, even now that she's, quote, diminished, even though her higher self is not diminished, but even her body seems to be failing her. Um, it's tough. It's been tough to watch because I've always seen her as this strong, beautiful light in my life, and her light seems to be dimming. And it's been a struggle for her, and I've had to really. I think maybe I've underestimated how deep I had to dig and to support her. And I'm an only child, by the way. I don't know if those of you know. I don't really have anybody else who can help. I have my kids do what they can and it's a blessing that they live at home. And but the giving, what I give to her it means so much to her. Like even the little things I do. And the idea that the giving and receiving happen simultaneously is so true. When I go into that thought of the little things I do and her response, and it makes more sense to me when I think about my role of as a mom and being a mom. I don't even think about doing things for my kid. It's no thought because it's a gift to me when I do things. I love doing things for my kids, and um, it's just not even a thought. It's just such a continuous flow. That little infinity symbol we talked about with the giving and the receiving being on either side. It's just a constant flow. And when I think of my mom and put her in my heart, and then it became easy, and like, of course, I'm giving to my mom, and it's more than enough, and I receive as I'm taking my time to do these things. So last night, the hospital's like 30 minutes away, and she didn't think she would be admitted. She just wanted, guess she thought it was going to be a quick fix to her problem, but they did the tests and X-rays, and turns out she has pleural effusion and fluid around her heart, and they're like, no, we need to admit you. And she needed her things and specific medication they didn't have at the hospital. So they got her admitted, and I had to take the trip all the way back home and come back again. And my ego's like, oh, that's a half an hour and then another half an hour to come back. And it was complaining. And I instantly went into, no, no, no. This is such an opportunity to just do this and be there for my mom. She needs me, and I'm happy and grateful to be there for her. Um, that my car works great. I have the time, and my heart just started filling up with thinking about her and how she's feeling, and the feeling that she's having, and that her body is failing her. She says, I feel trapped in my body. My body's doing all these things and I don't have any control. And for me to provide a calm reassurance and love her and bring her the things she needs and do everything she needs in these moments. When I go into that space, it's just so giving back to me, the little things I'm doing for her. So I don't know if I'm being redundant but
You are perfect. You did an
yeah,
amazing job. I'm
thank
super
you.
proud of how well you took care of your mom. That's what we're supposed to do. That's wonderful. Good job.
Thank you. Yeah, she's still there and she's complaining because they're not letting her get out of her bed on her own. And this hospital is gorgeous, guys. You should see it. It looks like a hotel room. And when we walked in, we were like, wow, look at this place. And she was all excited, but they won't let her get out of her bed on her own. Like every time she gets out, she has to call the nurse. So she's complaining. My mom's still very feisty. And so I said, it's okay, Mom. So you'll be fine. So thank you.
That was nice to know because that gives the idea that she's really there. I mean, she's not willing to let go yet. I mean, her body may have been doing a show right now, but she's not willing. So she has a strong spirit, and what you're doing is really bring her back to the idea that she can do it. So uh, I'm sending blessings on your way, my friend. And I know that well, I don't know for sure, but I know that that kind of spirits always are stronger than this episode. So I have my hopes high that she will overcome this really quickly. And you just enjoy every single minute that you have with her. I was thinking like, yeah, we all have to. For example, yesterday that I was feeling like that, I was, no, well, let's check this up because I'm gonna miss the opportunity to give Grace and Dean a good day. As I mean, I have my daughter away, but these kids are here, so I get to enjoy them instead of feeling sad about what I don't have. I get to enjoy them and see them laugh or just be around his father, and that is a beautiful thing to watch. I mean, I always enjoy them in, in a way that I can really see that all the love, the physical love that I can give to my daughter, I can now start to give that to these kids, and well, slowly because we are just getting to know each other, but they are really super nice kids and fun. So uh, I enjoy these moments that we have to get them here. The laughters and the noise and all the things that it makes me feel joy because makes me remember my childhood with my sister. I was like Dean in some form, and I know how Grace is because she has this a lot of characteristics that my sister had, and so I really appreciate her. Her little mind is really a strong woman mind. She's just beginning that path, but it's really a nice thing to watch. So I I only can think of you, Janine, right now, like you're giving your mom all the love that we all want to give to our moms or want to feel as a mom. So I appreciate all the efforts that you can do for both of you because that will bring you peace. And if you're at peace, everybody is at peace around you. So thank you, Janine, for everything that you do for your mom because it's a reflection
Yes.
of us as well.
Thank you for the blessings, Adriana, and the kind, beautiful words. And you are too. Your love is such a gift, to your, Lee's kids and Bob, and I know your love and presence is a gift as well. And you are not separate at all from your daughter, and because you can't be, um, you just feel it. Like that mother-child bond is so powerful, and
Exactly.
it's so like tears are coming down because you just feel it. Any moment you just tap into it. It's a gift that that saying. It's a gift that keeps giving, and it just is. It just keeps going, and it's beautiful. And it's like you're right. You're right. It's enjoying every moment that you have with your loved ones and celebrating those moments. It is really beautiful. So thank you, Adriana.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I was thinking also that, yeah. Oh my God, I had the thought and it went away. Like in an instant, I had the thought. I have different kind of thought to share, and it went
Now you
away.
see
Like
it, now it's gone.
I see, I guess it's the Holy Spirit saying, no, this is not useful. Let's move on. Oh my God, what was it? It was something that I said, ah, yeah, I can share
I
this.
bet it'll come to you. I bet it'll
That's
come to you.
funny. That's happening to me sometimes where it's a thought where, and when I remember it again, I was like, oh, it really wasn't that important. It's like spirit just dropped it. No, you don't want to say
Yeah.
that.
No, yeah, yeah, it came to me back. I mean, it came back. Last night I was reflecting on my feelings of the day, and I totally well, it's just that it feels like I am dying there because of course the life is rearranging around my daughter's level of the form because of course things needs to change and I could really see that it feels like I'm dying. Of course I'm not dying, but it feels like I'm dying because all the space that my daughter used to have with my I don't know pictures on it has to change in order for Kurt to have another relationship. He's having I told you before that he's having a relationship with another person and he's really in love with that woman, but well, it has been tainted with any kind of other conflicts that he is trying to learn from and whatever. So the relationship is not that stable as the one that I have with Lee, but he is working on it in some form because he wants this woman to be around him. And yesterday, I was asking him to send me at least a small picture or whatever of what was Beta doing, because I was really missing her and I was feeling sad. And he sent me at the end of the day this small video, and I could see that he is now taking his partner to my mother-in-law's house, and I know that if he's bringing her in now, my pictures and the things that my mother-in-law should always had in the house, I know that they must be changed because Kurt, of course, will want to make this woman feel comfortable. So I was feeling sad about that too, and I said to the, it's just it feels like I'm dying. I know it's not true, you know, it's a silly thing to know, but it feels like I'm dying. But it's funny to have that thought because um, now I realize that yeah, you need to die in some form in order to have a new life, to reborn. So I took it like, yeah, I'm not dying, I'm just transforming into something else. And Lee said something beautiful like, yeah, the butterflies needs to fly, and it's hard to see the cocoon down there, but the the cocoon, yeah, something like that.
I
What?
don't know. It came straight from God. I swear. I have no idea what I
He
said,
doesn't
but it
even
did sound really
remember
good.
what he
When I
told
heard
me.
it, I was like, man, I should have written that one down.
I
That's a
was sharing this beautiful thought that he sent me, and he doesn't even remember. Well, the thing is that he said that, and I really could see it. Yeah, I'm flying away, but not because I have died. It's just I'm transforming into something else. That it will be good for her, it will be good for me, and I really appreciate that she's having this new woman in her life, because she has a son, so she gets to play with her son and they get along very well. So my daughter is really happy. I'm not having any kind of resistance to it. Is the idea that my presence needs to be a little bit more discreet around my daughter in order for her to have her dad as well in love, with some partner around. I don't know. It's a hard thought, but it all really comes to the conclusion that life never stops. The love is always there, and it's just different forms to love. So
You know what? I
the love
wanted,
of a mother is present there too.
The caterpillar has to die so the butterfly can fly.
you know,
Exactly, exactly. You see, honey, your dad has your mind.
thank God somebody's got it.
oh, I wanted to say that I think it's really interesting what a mother's love and children have that, like, well, I think most of the time. I mean, I think that it's there are cases that this is not so, but 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 a mother, you know, that's been present and shown love. A child, um, they know it through and through, but when it comes to a father, if he hasn't been present or what have you, it seems, well, anyway, this is my experience, so maybe this is not everybody's, but I feel like it's really important for a child to, they already understand, if they understand their mother's love, but when there's a divorce, what I'm trying to say is that I think that it's great that your daughter has her dad and can get really close and see her dad's, experience her dad's love. Um, in this way and develop a really, like, she may already have a good rapport with him, but she she'll never question yours more than likely, but and now she'll never question his. I don't know, maybe I'm just shouldn't even have shared. Maybe I shouldn't have shared because I'm not sure that I'm making sense even myself.
It's okay.
It's my
Sometimes it's stream of
experience.
consciousness.
Yeah, thanks. It's just my experience that I knew my mother's love was always there, and I remember, and I've seen in my family when my dad wasn't, excuse me, so present and didn't live with us, um, we all just starved for his feeling that he loved us, and so we questioned that and still question that, and so now I don't, because I see that his journey was I don't know. I guess I got an understanding for his journey now, but for my whole life as a child, I didn't. Um, I thought he didn't love us, and he did in his way. But anyway, I shouldn't have even shared. I don't know why I did that. I didn't even have the thought.
Andy, if it makes you feel any better, I really feel like my kids look at me sometimes and wonder, how does this guy love us? So I try and fail like every other person in the whole entire world. But as long as you recognize that somebody's trying once in a while, that might be all they need. And I'm sure your dad loves you very, very much.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
And those birds sound beautiful in your background.
yeah, it's really pretty out today.
Happy
Yeah,
spring, everybody.
the dads are always in some form misunderstood. I was reflecting that yesterday too, because because Kurt, for example, was really willing always to be with Vera, and I was the one who didn't thought that can be possible. I mean, in my mind was the egoic thought of he can't do the things that I do, and I know he can't in some form he can't do the kind of things that I was doing with her, but that is really not seeing him like myself. So that it only creates another kind of loop of separation. So when I really understood that I needed to let the Father be the Father in my spiritual mind, in order to let the Father be the Father here in the level of the form, and really see the power in that, um, only then was when I really understood that, yeah, we are different and the way we love is different, but or seem different, but in fact it's not. It's not. It's just that we are so used to, and as Tom always said, we have been so indoctrinated to think that the men have to just to provide, and the education part of the work should come from the mom. We always give inside of our minds more credit to the job of the mom in the child growth than the dad. So the dad always gets judged like he's clueless. And yes, of course, in some form they are clueless in practicalities around the things, but because they never had that role in the past. I mean, they have never had like that yeah, role since the past. I mean, since the beginning of time, women have always been the ones that uh, nurture kids, and male go and hunt and all those things. So we cannot both do the same things. It's what I'm trying to say. Dads will do love in a form, and moms will do love in another form. But that doesn't mean that one or the other is better. It's just another way. It's like saying that somebody loves a guy and somebody loves a girl. It's the same thing. I mean, the love is just one, but it can come in different colors. So um, I was reflecting that yesterday because I was remembering my childhood with my dad, and I always questioned my dad because I always was in resistance with my dad, because I was with resistance of the male existence. In fact, the opposite, supposedly opposite. That is not my I mean, I'm not a part of it. I'm with them. I have to be with them, and I have to learn how to accept the different way of loving that they have in order for me to feel okay with the way I do my love. I mean, the way I love. So yeah, it's all about forgiveness in this. It's all about saying yes and forgive everything with this Course in Miracles. So
And it,
I know that it might not be so aligned. I mean, for Andy saying like, I don't know why I share that. Well, because it has a resonance with somebody else's. Everything that we share in these rooms has has a value for others. So I really appreciate that you come forward and mention that.
Well, it's another way to actually say this morning's message because it all comes back to one love that God, our Father, not only loves us unconditionally, like the mother, but also has our back as we go through the travails of the prodigal child to come back to that original love. The men are supposed to, according to traditions, except on Amazon Island, I think. Excuse me. Um, it all comes back to love. And the men do what they're supposed to do, the women do what they're supposed to do, and it's possible for all of us to feel love for each other. This is like a perfect sermon for Easter, and it's all risen now, so it's pretty terrific.
I just wanted to say, in regards to understanding the big picture, we don't know how all the pieces of the puzzle fit in. And, for a lot of us, and we're seeing it more as our parents get older or your people enter their what we'll call declining years, at least in regards to physical and mental capability. I also often might wonder, why do they stick around? Uh, why do they go through all that, what appears to be some pain and suffering? And one of the things I'll just throw out as a possibility is that, as Janine kind of shared, uh, she's now got an opportunity to demonstrate to her mother uh, how much her mother means to her. So sometimes I think some of these people stick around for the idea that they want to give you, their children, the opportunity to demonstrate what the children believe love would have them do. Because throughout the relationship, for a lot of times, the children seem like it really hasn't been that much in balance. The parents have always been giving, the ones giving, and never, the children have never had the opportunity to give back. I think sometimes these people hang around just because they want to give us the opportunity to, I use this word, kind of clear our conscience, balance the record, where we can say, yeah, whenever, just like whenever they were there for me, I'm there for them now in their time of, what appears to be need. So I just throw that out. Also, in regards to people, and you mentioned times of men, but a lot of times people that have been giving all their lives, or seems to have a imbalance relationship. They're always giving and you're receiving, a lot of times with the parent and the child relationship. uh, that child wants to give back, and we can talk about this on a bigger picture. Whenever I look at all the things and realize that God is a God of unconditional love and has given me so much, I would like to give back. But when someone seems to be perfect, whole, and complete, it's very difficult for that person to find anything that parent or could want or would need. And so sometimes I think that these people hang around just with that idea to allow you to demonstrate what your love for that person by caring for them, because we still tend to associate that spiritual essence with the body. So I don't know if that makes any sense. I hope it does. Thank you.
Sure it does, Tom. That's why I'm planning to stick around for about 150 years altogether. That gives Lee lots of time, and Adriana can join in with that, and they all have a great opportunity now. I'm sticking around.
Yeah, you know what? It is a blessing for sure to be able to give back to your your parents. Um, and yeah,
Well,
you
Dad still
explained
has
that
to
so
earn my
well.
inheritance too. So we're behind the 8 ball on that one.
Hey, that's funny. I could share something. I was in therapy years ago for anxiety, something that I dealt with for my whole life, right? So, the traditional therapy didn't really do what I had hoped it to do, but nonetheless, I did. What was really funny about this thought about inheritance is I remember saying to my uh, to my therapist, I feel really guilty to that I'm like that I actually think about my inheritance from my stepfather because I love him so much. I really don't want to see him die, but why do I keep thinking of my inheritance? And she said to me, well, it's kind of wonderful that you could see one good thing would come out of his death, and that's probably it. I mean, one good thing. It felt like one good thing would come out of losing him physically. You know what I mean? And I thought that's cool. I guess I don't have to feel guilty about that because that's true. That would have been what the icing, anyways. Not on the cake, but the eating the icing alone, anyways. I don't know. Here I go again. Oh, well, that's me. Here I am.
I just want to, share something. But and My mother, she passed away. Both my parents have passed away now. But she was in real bad shape in a nursing home, couldn't do much for herself and all that. And one time I went over there and I was telling her, that and she was supposedly a religious person, going to church and all that other stuff. So I told her, that Jesus had a place for her. She could check out if she wanted. That wasn't necessarily a problem. There was nothing to fear. And what she told me, I said, so you can, leave, and if you want, that's okay. And her response to me was that she couldn't leave. And I asked her why. And she said, I want to make your father suffer. And if I'm not around, I can't make him suffer. So, whenever you look at this idea to give is to receive, she wanted to make him suffer, and she got suffering back from that situation. So, very important we start realizing what kind of egos we write for other people. And whenever we want to keep them in the prison of our own mind, we're in that same prison ourselves. Uh, Thank you.
It's funny. My mother is so strong-willed. You guys, I mean, you nailed it. I think Adriana said you from that one statement I said about her. She is feisty. She's a fighter, and I think that's why she can't leave. She's a little bit controlling. Um, like for example, my divorce upset her very much because she had the idea in her mind that, oh, now Janine's set for life. She's got this, wonderful husband, successful husband. She's got this, that, all the material things I guess she's always wanted. And she could relax and rest. And so when I got that divorce, she's like, oh no, this is shattering.
My story, my friend, my story too.
Yes, she's like, oh no, she messed it all up. She's making a big mistake, and now she's all worried. And now that I have a boyfriend who she actually likes, and she's comforted by that, but she's still trying to micromanage stuff. She's worried about her grands, and she doesn't like my son's girlfriend. She's like, oh, he can't marry her. I know, I don't like her. I'm like, Mom, let it go. He'll decide who he wants to
Not up to
marry.
you,
He'll make
Mom.
the right decision. So she has this will about this controlling thing going on, and I think that's why she sticks around. To be honest, she's got to have her hand in everything, and she's just that kind of person. She doesn't really, and she feels guilty actually for about me taking care of her. But I like what you said, Tom, about I like the perspective, and I'm sure her higher self definitely revels and takes comfort in me caring for her on some level. But her ego is very upset about it, about her not being able to do things. And yet, I feel Spirit wants her to surrender. She's not surrendered at all in many ways, even, in this realm or spiritually at all. She fights God. She's expressed to me that, I'm mad at God and why would God do this to me? And I said, well, if you're mad at God, you're mad at yourself, and you're taking this anger out on your body, and maybe that's why you know, your body's doing some of these things. And oh no, that can't be. That doesn't make sense. I'm like, all right, Mom. So she's on her journey, and I don't know what that is, and she could live till she's 100. And if you say that to her, she's like, I don't want to live to be 100. Not the way I'm going. And I says, well, Mom, you don't really have control over that exactly. I mean, I think maybe in some level we do. I don't know the answer to that, but I told my daughter, I says, grandma could be here till she's 100. And she's like, yeah, you're right. She could be.
I'm loving this conversation. It's so much fun because um, if you want to be miserable, we're going to, you can have as much time as you want to be miserable, just like Tom said. And if you want to be happy, you can also have as much time as you want to. Now, if someone's being miserable, they look at me and say, why would you want to live to 150? Because they think that I'm living like they are, and it's 100, that's another extra 50, 60 years of misery. The other thing that I wanted to say to complete this picture that we're painting, it's a memory that I think I shared once before, but I'll briefly say that Lee has a grand aunt. I have an aunt, my wife's aunt, and she had diabetes in her last years, and they had already removed a limb because of the diabetes she had. She was very debilitated at that point, and we just Susie and I used to go and see her, but she just kind of sat on a chair and rocked a little bit, but just seemed pretty miserable. She couldn't speak, she couldn't communicate, and we actually had a a psychic come that we knew come speak to her and listen to her. And I'm keeping this short so I don't take up too much time. But after she finished a 2 hour um, conference, so to speak, with our aunt, she left and she said, I'm sorry for the most part, but I can't really tell you what we were talking about. And we were just perplexed. And about 2 weeks later, in her rocking back and forth, she fell over and she died, blessedly, I might add. And later on, after that, we asked the psychic, what was it that you were talking about? She said, your aunt was only asking me, how can I die? I want to get out of this. And she had diabetes. They were going to take another limb and two breasts. And all of this was going to happen. She didn't want any part of that. Now, she lived a life. We're not going to say anything about that here. It's not relevant. The point is, she wanted out. she finally figured out by herself how to get out of this body that she detested by then. So, we get everything that we really want. And at that point, there wasn't any way to reverse the trend that her body had already taken. But we, as spiritual beings, and she, if she's listening right now, has the ability to project forward the next best life for her. And it sounds almost like um, Oprah saying, live your best life. And she certainly has, with her thoughts and her openness and so on. So this lesson just is more and more alive as we share these stories, because it's really true. What we think is what is going to happen. We have to look at all of our thoughts and make sure that we're not suppressing some thoughts that are hurting us. And to some degree, they will, until we examine those and we say, actually, if something negative befalls us, we can say, I wonder what caused that. This would be a really good, interesting lesson for us. Anyway, I love the way this lesson is going this morning. Thank you all so much for being here. We're at our usual time that we usually get ready to sign off. So I think it's been very complete, and I'm certainly complete. And I thank you all so much for being here with us.
I just wanted to say one last thought is that um, because Janine and I spoke about it yesterday, is that um, often the mercy is in, at some point comes in when we choose to be finished with the body, if we've had the opportunity to live to a ripe old age. And I think that there comes a time. I had a friend that was 103, and she had used to have me in for coffee. It was kind of like that. I think that was called Tuesdays with Maury, that movie. And she was so wise, and she just said, I'm finished here. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't have any family. And she didn't have anybody to visit her at all. She says, all my siblings, all my children, she outlived everybody that she had. And so she was just done. um, and she wasn't being very patient about it. She was getting quite miserable. So, in a sense, if you think about that, if you're feeling miserable at the end, it might be sort of a blessing, because you're kind of I mean, not that I want to be miserable at all, but I mean, like, when would I be ready to give up this body? I think there's going to be mercy at some point where I'm going to be ready. And I think it's probably going to be around 173, but but anyway.
My God.
173.
She had it like really like 173 and a half. That's so.
Yeah, because I don't know. I think maybe we could set a number for ourselves. I'll probably, but I want to see all those great 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 grands, and they'll be like, who is that old? They'll be like, oh my God, she's like, uh, a novel. They'll have to. I told Janine, I said, I'm going to put on a show when it's time to go. I'm going to tell everybody, okay, it's time to go. Watch me now.
But be careful, because my grandmother always had that same kind of show with her own sense of dying. So she always like, well, I'm about to die, so let's all say goodbye this year, because. And it's funny because Grandpa Luis, the one that has 102 years old, he always, well, I'm going to say goodbye this year because I don't want to be here for the next one. And he went several years more than that. My grandma really did a number. I mean, she was in bed in hospital, kidney failure, and she was really like dying. And I had to travel from Bogota to the city she were at the time, and say goodbye to her and help my uncles and my aunts to gather the family and help them with expenses because I really thought she was going to die. So I said goodbye to her with the most hearted words and I hugged her. She was really about to die. And and I went back to Bogota with my heart in grief and all those things. And then, like 2 days, 2 days went by, and my aunt told me, no, you know what? Your grandmother, I mean, every single one of us said goodbye to her, and then she came back to life, and now she's getting discharged. And now we gotta have to bring her back home, and we don't know what we don't know what we're gonna do with her because we have already made plans with the things that she had. So
That is hysterical.
and she lived like for another 6 years or so. So
Wow.
it was so funny. Yeah, be careful with that because maybe you will have another
Oh,
years after you have that
Well,
wish. It's not your
absolutely.
calling, my friend.
Absolutely. When I turned 75, I did really think, this is half of my life is over, and I've got a lot more to do, but I'm going to try and make the second half much better. And that's actually what I'm in the
right.
process of doing as much as possible. And this was great. I felt so proud of this little statement I made until I met, this is a true story, another architect on the phone who also happened to have had a Jewish background. And after I told him that, he said, "Hey, man, I got you beat." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "When I reached 60, I realized this was just the first trimester."
My God.
So he's going for 180. And I said,
And he
"Darn."
beat me.
Well, we got a little battle going on here. And that's just guy talk for saying, we want to live way into the next century of our lives. So there's, what's going to happen? I don't know. Yesterday, I fell down and hit my head against a cabinet. And Susie said, "Do you want to go to the hospital? Do you want to go to the hospital?" I said, "No." And I just kind of shook my head and I was okay. But it's funny that this kind of discussion goes on because I really do take it very lightly, and it's all good. The Garden of Eden story becomes very relevant. We were doing fine. That's Adam and Eve until what happened. Just take the basic storyline. Somebody decided they wanted to eat from the tree of duality, because that's what it is, the knowledge of the difference between good and evil. And all of a sudden, they were the ones that banished themselves from a Garden of Eden experience. Duality doesn't work very well, but
You know what else they
were
did?
given, let me just finish this.
Yeah.
We were given this morning the way to get out of duality and back to the Garden of Eden experience. Yes, ma'am. Go, Andy.
Let's say, you know what else they did? They blamed someone else.
That's right.
They didn't take no responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. They all reacted. The serpents.
What do you mean
Yeah.
I did something wrong? They made me do it.
Devil may
It
There you
all
go.
comes back
It's all up
to
to us.
give and receive are one in truth. To give and to receive are one in truth. Workbook lesson 108. I'll be here tomorrow to read 109. I hope you all have a fantastic Easter Monday. And thank you all for joining us here.
Thank you,
Thank
Lee.
you, everybody.
Thanks,
Hi,
everyone.
Sean.
Hello.